Hi friends, today we're going to be making my favorite gluten-free pie crust that I use for all my pies and in my pie cookbook that's available on my website. To start, let's add gluten-free flour, cornstarch, sugar, and salt to a large mixing bowl. Give those a stir with your hand just to combine them. Then we're going to add shortening and butter. Now both of these are frozen. I stuck them in the freezer for about 15 minutes beforehand. Toss those around in the flour to get them coated. Once all the fat is coated with flour, you're going to start flattening the pieces of fat between your fingers. And you'll just work your way through the bowl, flattening all the fat and breaking it up into smaller pieces. And you want to work as fast as you can to keep everything cold. If your hands start to feel greasy at all, just go ahead and throw the whole bowl into the freezer for about 15 minutes and then start again. You want to have nice big chunks of fat that look like this. Now make a well in the center and we're going to pour in half of our water. Now I've made this recipe more than 100 times and it always uses a different amount of water. It's going to depend on your weather and your house, so just add the water a little bit at a time and toss it together to mix the water into the flour. It's a lot harder to recover from adding too much water than it is to just add a little bit more. So I'm just adding a few tablespoons at a time here. I keep tossing it until it starts to clump together and form a dough ball. And once it does start sticking together, you're going to go ahead and kind of knead it a little bit to form it into a ball. The dough should feel a little bit wetter than you think it would, but not be sticky at all and not stick to the bowl. This recipe makes enough for 2 pie crusts, so we're going to go ahead and cut this ball in half. We're going to wrap up each half in plastic wrap. And first we're going to form it into a disc, and that should be about 2 inches thick, and then wrap the plastic wrap around it, not too tight, and then flatten out the dough so that it's an even thickness, and stick both of those in the refrigerator for 2 hours. Once it's been chilled, you're going to pull out your dough and unwrap it, but leave it on the plastic wrap. We're going to sandwich the dough between 2 pieces of plastic wrap. This is a really easy way to roll out pie crust. This pie dough is really cold right now, which is exactly what you want, so we're just going to start by pressing down on it with our rolling pin to get it started. And then just start rolling, working your way from the center out in both directions, and then rotating the dough so that you can roll it the other way too. You'll notice that I keep rotating the dough. You just want to keep working, rolling from the center out, and then moving the dough around. And you might need to loosen your plastic wrap. You can also roll this out on a counter dusted with flour, but I think this plastic wrap method is great for this gluten-free dough, which is a little bit more tender than regular dough. And once it's large enough for your pan, you're going to remove 1 sheet of plastic wrap and cut away the excess. If you're doing a double crust, you only need 1/2 inch. If you're doing a single crust, you're going to need 1 inch overhang here. And then peel away all the extra pieces, and you can save those for decorations or add them to the other half of the pie dough that you still have in the refrigerator. Reach your hand underneath and holding the center, flip it over. And then gently work it into the shape of the pan. You don't want to press it in because that will make your pie crust stick to the pan once it's baked. So just using the plastic wrap to kind of maneuver it around. Pull back the plastic and roll the edge under. It's okay if it cracks a little bit, that's normal. That happens with gluten pie crust too. And work your way all the way around the pie. And then you can smooth out those cracks with your fingers if you want. And then crimp it however you want. I'm going to do a pinch crimp with my thumb and 2 fingers. You can use whatever method you like. And once you've got that done, you can stick this in the freezer until you're ready to bake, and then bake it according to your recipe instructions. And if you're going to have it in the freezer for more than 30 minutes, you want to make sure it's well wrapped so that it doesn't dry out. There you go, perfect gluten-free pie crust.